At this point, I want to talk a little bit about how angles are broken up. This may be something you've seen before, it may not be, but we're going to go back and forth between two different forms, and you need to be able to convert from one to the other. The fact that we're going to be looking at is 1 degree when you're measuring an angle can be broken down into 60 minutes. And the symbol for minutes is a little mark there. 1 minute is equal to 60 seconds. So the terminology works a little bit like the terminology works for a clock. Now, how does this work? Well, you're going to see these two ways. You're going to see moving from a fraction to degrees, minutes, or seconds, but you're also going to see this going the other direction as well. So for example, if I have 14 and 3/4 degrees, the whole number of degrees is going to stay the same. Nothing changes. However, I need to take 3/4 of a degree. That's a fraction, and I want to convert this over to either minutes or seconds. So I know that 1 degree has 60 minutes, but I don't want a whole degree. I just want 3/4 of a degree. You may have learned at some point, if you take some part of something, you can multiply by that fraction. So if I want to take 3/4 of those 60 minutes that are in 1 degree, I can simply multiply 3/4 times 60. Now you could do this using a decimal, but this is also very easy by hand. You could cross-cancel the 4 in the 60, and you can simplify down a little bit. I'm just going to multiply here. 3 times 60 is 180, divided by 4. 2 goes into 80, 180 90 times, so 4 would go in 45 times. And that's going to be 45. So what that tells you is 3/4 of the 60 minutes that make up that degree would work out to be 45 seconds. So we would say that's 14 degrees and 45 minutes. Okay? Now, that's all you really need to do is just multiply that fractional part times the 60 minutes if you're going from degrees to degrees and minutes. So for example, if I had 20 and 3/5 degrees, again, it's going to be 20 degrees. That doesn't change. The whole value doesn't change. However, I can take that 1 degree, and since I don't have a full degree, I need 3/5 of a degree, I can break the 1 degree down into 60 minutes. But I don't want all of those 60 minutes, I only want 3/5 of them. So I can take 3/5 times that 60, and again, you can put that over 1, you can multiply, and that's going to end up being 36 minutes. So it's 20 degrees, 36 minutes, and that would give you that value that is exactly 3/5 of that 60 minutes. So very simple, really just multiplying by a fraction. Or if you had to, you could multiply by the decimal. Now, you can also go the other direction. I can give you something with degrees and minutes, and you might want to convert it back to a fraction. So for example, if I give you 17 degrees and 20 minutes, 20 minutes, that's not an entire 60 minutes that can be converted back into a degree. It's a fractional part, okay? Usually when you talk about fractions, you talk about having a part over a whole. And I can do exactly that here. Once again, the 17 degrees isn't going to change, but this is 20 minutes out of a total of 60 minutes. So it's 17 and 20/60ths degrees. And of course, anytime you simplify a fraction, you want to divide out the greatest common divisor. In this case, 20 divides out of both of these. That's 17 and 1/3 degrees. And a lot of you probably realize that 20 was 1/3 of 60 in the first place. So that's all you would need to do there. Same kind of thing if I have 45 degrees and let's say I have 25 minutes. Same kind of thing. That's 25 out of 60 is the fraction that you're going to get there. So that's 45 and 25 sixtieths. Again, you want to simplify your fraction down, so that ends up being 45. 5 goes into both of these. Goes in 5 times in the numerator, 12 times in the denominator. You end up with 45 and 5/12 degrees. So you can go back and forth between fractions and these minutes and seconds that allow you to use completely whole numbers. And I'm going to show you in a minute why that's such a useful skill to have. Okay, I've come to my last couple of examples. First of all, I want to look at a little bit of vocabulary. It is probably vocabulary that you've worked with before. We say that angles are complementary, or complements of each other, if they add up to 90 degrees. Angles are supplementary if they add up to 180 degrees. I can find the complement or a supplement of an angle using degrees, minutes, or possibly degrees, minutes, and seconds. Let me show you a very simple example first and then go into a slightly tougher example. If I have 45 degrees, 28 minutes, and 32 seconds, and I want to subtract 12 degrees, 16 minutes, and 20 seconds. The great thing about this is, because this isn't in fractional form, I don't have to worry about common denominators or that type of thing. I can just subtract like terms. So I can take 32 minus 20, that's 12 seconds, 28 minus 16, 12 minutes, and 45 minus 12 is 33. And I just end up with 33 degrees, 12 minutes, and 12 seconds. Very straightforward. Adding, same thing. Add degrees to degrees, add minutes to minutes, seconds to seconds. However, you will run into some occasional problems. For example, let's say that I had something that looks like this. 17 degrees, 12 minutes, and I want to add 32 degrees and 49 minutes. So you start adding your like terms. 12 and 9 add up to 11, carry my 1, that adds up to 61. 7 and 9 add up to, or 7 and 2 add up to 9. I get something that looks like this. 49 degrees, 61 minutes. You say, well, what's wrong with that? Didn't you just say you could do that? That's fine, except I know that every degree breaks down into 60 minutes. You notice I have more than 60 minutes here. So what I want to do is I want to borrow 60 minutes, because I know that 60 minutes is equal to 1 degree. And I'm going to borrow 60 of these to get a degree. That'll increase this to 50. I borrowed 60 of these minutes, so I'm left with 1 minute here. So it's 50 degrees in 1 minute. So you may have to do a little borrowing. You may have to transfer to write this in the best possible form. Okay? You're also going to see the same sort of thing when you're trying to subtract. Okay, so I may have something like 46 degrees, 17 minutes, and I want to subtract 15 degrees and, if the number's easy here, 37 minutes. Now the problem here, if I subtract, I get a negative. Okay, I don't want a negative number of minutes, but I can borrow over here. I can take one of my degrees, change that into 45 degrees. 1 degree is 60 minutes. Okay, you may want to mark that out and rewrite that as 77 minutes. Now I have 77 minutes minus 37 minutes. That's 40 minutes. 45 minus 15 is 30, and then you have that value. All right? One final thing that kind of builds on this, the supplement and the complement. If I wanted to find the supplement of a 90 degree, or the supplement, sorry, let's do a complement. If I wanted to find the complement of a 15 degree, 20 minute angle, I could subtract from 90 and I could see what I have left over. You're going to run into the same kind of problem here. You don't have minutes. Okay, technically if you wanted to write something in, you have 0 minutes. So once again, you're going to have to borrow 1 of these 90 degrees You can drop that down to 89. If I borrow 1 degree, that gives me 60 minutes that I can put right here. Now I've got a larger number, subtracting the smaller number. 60 minus 20 is 40. 89 minus 15 is 74 degrees. And now I have the complement of that angle. So we know that if I had this angle together, those two angles would add up to 90 degrees. They're said to be complements. Same kind of thing when you're working with supplementary angles. You can subtract from 180 degrees, you're going to have to borrow. Of course, you can take this one step further. What if I had something with degrees and minutes and seconds? What if I wanted to find the supplement of an angle that measured 40 degrees, 20 minutes, and 30 seconds? Same kind of thing. I don't want to take 0 minus 20 or a 0 minus 30. That's really what I have right here, right now. So I'm going to borrow one of those degrees. This is 179 degrees. I'm going to borrow 1 degree, which is 60 minutes. Well, I still have a problem. Okay? I need seconds. And this is where you have to be very careful. A lot of times people think, oh, I'll just borrow another 60 and I'll put it over here. But 60 minutes is equal to a degree, not 60 seconds. So you don't want to borrow from the minutes. You want to borrow, or you don't want to borrow from the degrees. You want to borrow from the minutes. And I know that if I take one of these minutes, 1 minute is equal to 60 seconds. So I can borrow one of these. Takes me down to 59 minutes, gives me 60 seconds. Now I can go through the process. So you borrow seconds from minutes, you borrow minutes from degrees. 60 minus 30 is 30, 59 minus 20 is 39, and 179 minus 40 is 139. And then you have your difference there. So keep these things in mind. You have to be careful. Don't think it's all that difficult, but you do need to look out for some of those things. You can make a lot of mistakes.